We like to think of ourselves as the absolute masters of our technological era, the first to conquer planetary orbits and explore the deep void. But what if our history in space began far earlier than we think? Before humanity ever launched a single metallic bolt up there, something foreign, artificial and silent was already in orbit around our planet, catching the glints of sunlight. For centuries, we have recorded inexplicable events in the sky, dismissing them as divine signs, omens of doom, or bizarre atmospheric storms. But today, for the first time in recent history, science has found mathematical proof and rigorous data that seem to confirm the unthinkable. Someone was watching us even before we learned how to look back. October 1957. The Soviet Union launches Sputnik 1. Humanity officially celebrates its first historic step beyond the boundaries of the atmosphere. Yet, 7 years before that milestone in 1950, terrestrial telescopes were already photographing mirror-like metallic reflections in deep space. A mystery buried for decades in astronomical archives until the VASCO Project, led by Swedish astronomer Beatrice Villarroel, decided to undertake an unprecedented investigation. The team of researchers began systematically analyzing old photographic glass plates taken by the Palomar Observatory in California, starting in 1949. In that specific historical period, the space around Earth was a pristine desert. There were no human-made satellites, no space debris, no probes in orbit. Yet, on those analog plates, something appeared out of nowhere, only to vanish into nothingness shortly after. These fleeting flashes are called transients in scientific terms, mysterious lights that shine for just a few minutes or hours and then disappear forever into the dark. Initially, astronomers sought conventional explanations, hypothesizing extreme astrophysical events such as dying stars, passing high-altitude airplanes, or catastrophic gamma-ray bursts. But cross-analyses progressively ruled out all of these possibilities. The transients did not behave like any known natural phenomenon. Expanding the research to a full decade of data from 1949 to 1957, the VASCO Project discovered a shocking statistical anomaly: over 100,000 inexplicable transients recorded in less than 10 years. An enormous quantity, impossible to dismiss as simple coincidences or film development errors. Villarroel's team arrived at an incredible hypothesis capable of shaking the very pillars of modern astronomy. These were highly reflective metallic objects trapped in geosynchronous orbit above Earth. To turn this bold hypothesis into unassailable scientific proof, the astronomers exploited a fundamental law of optical physics. If these transients were real physical objects in orbit, they would need direct sunlight to reflect and shine in the darkness of space. Consequently, upon entering the immense cylindrical shadow cast by the Earth, these objects would have to turn off instantly, disappearing from the sight of telescopes. And that is exactly what the data showed. The statistical analysis revealed a crucial and retirement-level reduction of lights precisely within the cone of the Earth's shadow. This crucial piece of data ruled out most random film defects or distant stellar flares, which would never be affected by our planet's shadow. At least 349 of those historic sightings were mathematically solid, reflective objects moving within Earth's gravity well. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper, touching deeply unsettling chords. The VASCO Project decided to cross-reference the astronomical data with the history of civilian UFO sightings. They compared the days when the space transients were photographed with reports of unusual sightings recorded by the population on the ground. The result is statistically inexplicable. On days with major UFO sightings on the ground, transients in space increased by 8.5%. How was this possible? The civilian public had absolutely no access to professional astronomical plates, nor could they know what was transiting in deep space. This profound connection suggests a precise coordination between what was being observed in the lower layers of the atmosphere and what was orbiting in the cosmic vacuum. But there is another terrestrial signature, far more dangerous, that seems to have drawn the attention of these mysterious intelligences: the development of atomic energy. The historical data analyzed by the scientists showed a coincidence that makes the blood run cold. Within 24 hours following an atmospheric nuclear test on Earth, the number of metallic transients in space spiked by 45%. A dramatic increase, almost as if atomic detonations acted as a cosmic radio beacon, forcing these objects to reactivate, draw closer, or multiply to monitor our destructive capabilities. This scientific discovery aligns perfectly with one of the darkest and most heavily documented narratives of the modern era, namely the profound interest of unidentified anomalous phenomena in our weapons of mass destruction. October 23, 2010. F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming, a military nerve center safeguarding 50 Minuteman III intercontinental nuclear missiles. That evening, several military witnesses on duty reported the presence of an immense, completely silent, cigar-shaped metallic object hovering above the base. Moments after the sighting, the unthinkable happened. All 50 nuclear missiles simultaneously went offline, a complete electronic dropout, a simultaneous temporary failure of a magnitude never before seen in the history of American national security. Although the Air Force officially confirmed the technical glitch to the warheads, they excluded any mention of the object in the sky from the official report. But this was not the most extreme event. Hidden within the declassified files of the Cold War lies an even more terrifying precedent. 1982, Soviet Ukraine. A massive, disc-shaped, unidentified object hovers above a nuclear missile launch base for over 4 hours. Suddenly, without any intervention from the Soviet officers, the launch consoles activate on their own. The secret arming codes are entered automatically by the malfunctioning systems. The missiles primed to strike the West initiate their irreversible launch sequence, while the onboard computers completely ignore any manual abort commands. The soldiers watch helplessly at what appears to be the beginning of World War III, triggered by an external, technologically unstoppable force. Only when the mysterious object decides to move away into the sky do the systems suddenly return to human control, halting the countdown just a few seconds before a global disaster. These incidents raise a vital question. What if the transients photographed in 1950 were the space sentinels of this exact same force? Naturally, the mainstream scientific community met the VASCO Project study with extreme skepticism and rejection. Many old-school astronomers argue that analyzing digitized copies of old films is a methodological error, as the tiny bright pixels could simply be microscopic physical scratches or dust accumulations deposited on the original glass plates over the decades. A rival team of scientists, led by Wesley Waters, published a highly detailed counter-argument paper proving that when the background noise is removed using stricter mathematical filters, the alleged proof of the Earth's shadow completely falls apart. According to Waters, without a systematic disappearance in the shadow, there is no reason to believe those objects were physically in space, reducing the entire discovery to an optical illusion caused by film defects, or an anomalous increase in photos taken by the observatory specifically during the days of nuclear tests. However, Beatrice Villarroel hit back hard, recalculating the data and demonstrating that even when applying the restrictive filters of her critics, the correlation remains. Even with the strictest constraints, an 11% spike in unexplained anomalies survives, a peak that is mathematically real and completely unaccounted for by conventional models. The battle between academic astronomers and techno-signature researchers is still ongoing, fought with equations and peer-reviewed papers. But the core concept of looking for traces of alien intelligence in pre-satellite data remains a brilliant stroke of methodological genius. If even a tiny fraction of these pre-Sputnik anomalies are real, it completely rewrites what we know about our cosmic solitude. Perhaps, while we take our first timid steps into the solar system, their silent probes are still out there, hidden in the background noise of our own debris, watching us in the eternal silence of the cosmos.